Hi everyone, in this video we will explore the HTTP streamable protocol of connecting an agent to an MCP server. And once again we will first explore the connecting an AI assistant, which is a cloud desktop, to connect to an MCP server. So the combination is cloud desktop and AI assistant connecting to an MCP server over an HTTP protocol. So again, I'll just repeat what I have talked in the previous video, but just to give some glimpse, like so an agent, in this case the MCP client, tries to connect to an MCP server, and there are two ways it will be able to connect. One is the STDIO and HTTP. In STDIO, so the connection is between the input and output stream, whereas in HTTP, the connecting or the communication happens through an HTTP post request, and we get a response from the server. So they connect via post request and response kind of architecture. And when we can come to agent, so we build by either an SDK or an assistant. So this is more programmatically interacting to a server, but this is easy UI interface you can connect to an MCP server. So in the last video we talked about the cloud desktop with STDIO. So in this video we focus on the same cloud desktop connecting to an MCP server over HTTP protocol. That's what we will see. So in this, now I have taken another example, a new example in the bioinformatics domain. So for a UniProt MCP server, this is a community MCP server that is developed by someone and it is hosted, and we will try to connect this to this MCP server via our SDK agent. So we'll see that. So if you come over here, again, where does it find? So if you go to the MCP and through the community and the list of MCP server, you will find this example UniProt. So this is remember that this is not from the official UniProt MCP server. This is developed by someone, but to just give you a demonstration of the UniProt example, I will be using that. So if you open this, right? So again, this will open, and let me close all this. So this will open the server. So if you go to an example that what this server provides, so this is a protocol for UniProt and EBI protein APIs, and basically you can query UniProt database, and what tools it has available, like UniProt search. Okay, so basically this is how you will query, like for example organism ID is 9606 and reviewed equal to true, so it will give all the UniProt ID. This is how you will search the keyword search. And also you can stream, basically bulk download large data set is supported up by this tool. And if you want to get some UniProt entry, you can say like, hey, I want to get information on this ID, can you provide that? So it will give, and what format you want output, JSON, TSV, FASTA, XML, it will take care of that. And also whether to include protein isoform or not, those kind of things you can try around. Also, it supports the ID mapping functionality. Let's say you give, like it's from gene name database, you want to convert to UniProt KB, and let's say you give these three gene name, and in this taxonomic ID human, for example, here it will give the converted UniProt entry. And also it also provides some support for blast. For example, you can give this protein sequence and you tell which database against you want to blast your query, and you can give some number of hits, how many you want, and what threshold you want to use. So basically, in short, without going into detail about this server, it gives some functionality to your UniProt database. So now, using this MCP server, if we connect our agent to this one, so our agent will now be able to query all the UniProt related thing. So that's the beauty of the MCP server. Okay, and this is written in npm. So that's what we need to install npm first, and this is a two-step. Basically what we will do, we will be downloading this repository locally, and then we'll install the server by npm install, and we will run this server using npm run dev. So basically when we launch it, it will open this mcp protocol, it will open, and this run this server, mcp server will run on my local host on this port 8787, and it will run at this API endpoint. So I will be calling that using this one, and once it is run, right, so now I just have to configure my what is the cloud desktop using this argument. So I will give some UniProt search. Oh, sorry, my bad. So about that, it says at the end like how to configure the this is the JSON configuration, like how will you configure the Cloud Desktop. So we will see that how to do that. So again, if you come to this my GitHub page, the configure MCP with the HTTP IPNB file. So here I have explain the instruction like we needed to the server. So I'll show you. So what I have done, this is my what is that, PowerShell, Windows PowerShell. So here I have cloned this repository UniProt MCP server by git clone that repository, and I went to the server and I just did npm install. So basically what it did, it installed all the npm packages written in it. Then I'm now running the server npm run dev. So what happened now? So when I ran this, it started the launch of the MCP server. Locally it's already installed, right? So it ran the server on this port. So now you see this 127.0.01 is the local host and 8787 is the port. So now my server is exposed, so I can just copy, and if I just type over here, so it will give some message that UniProt and Protein API MCP server. That means I know that on this HTTP in this path my MCP server is currently running. So now next thing what I have to do, I just have to connect to it to my agent. Okay, so that's first we have to install it. Now we need to do the settings over here, how we can do that. So again, what they have provided, like you have to use this npx command. Now then something called MCP remote. Okay, this MCP remote is using which we will be able to connect to this URL. Okay, so in this case we'll not be using SSC because that is deprecated. We will be using the MCP one. Okay, so this is the command. We just need to copy it and we will paste it over in the server. So I will just copy this one. Okay, and again you have to search where npx is present. So best is like go to this one and you can open, let's say, cmd command prompt and type, let's say, where npx. It will give you the path of npx, so you can copy this. Okay, that's what I will be copying this path. And what we will do, we'll open the Cloud Desktop and go to file and go to settings and go to developer here. And already one server is running. Two servers I have in the past I have done it. So what I'll do, I'll delete those server. Okay, edit the config, so it will open this JSON file. Okay, so here under here I will just add this this block. So basically this is one by JSON server name. So I'm telling that this is the UniProt server and this is where my npx command is there, and the argument is like MCP remote, and this is the MCP path or where my server is running as I showed you. So here my server is still running on 878, so it is listening to this. So that means now my agent will send the HTTP request on this URL. So now this server will now listen it. Okay, see, this is running in separate in my system. Okay, so now I have configured it. Close this one. Either you can restart it or see it's still not there, right? So you have to go to developer and reload the MCP configuration. So now you see it will come to the MCP server, it will initialize. So what it will do, it will now run this command and it will try to connect via this MCP remote package, and it will try to connect to this server where it is running. So to check the log, what you can do again, how it is, what's happening, that you can go to open MCP log. It will now show the latest log. So ideally you should see some information regarding the MCP server here. So it says that okay, something is there, UniProt search, something is there. That means it is running. So best way is like I can go again, open my chart, and I can ask like can you check whether you have access to, let's say, UniProt local MCP server. Okay, so let's see. Let me check my available tools. Looking through, I can see I have extensive UniProt MCP server access. See, so now my agent, this cloud assistant, is now connected to this MCP server which is running over here, right? So now let's ask the questions. Okay, so it is saying that what all things he can do. So let's I have asked noted questions. So let's ask get UniProt ID for gene TP53. Just 5 is enough, only UniProt IDs. Okay, so now I said this query. So now it will ask me uh, to use some tool, like and it automatically, based on the MCP schema defined by that MCP server, it will automatically construct a query for you, and it will try. The query is this: size is 5 and what field you want, XSN is where you want to query. So let's try that. So what it will do, it is now searching it. So see, it gave me the 5 IDs. Okay, so now next question I can ask, describe in 2 lines about the first entry. So now this is what query it used here. It used UniProt underscore search tool. So now let's ask this question now. So now it will ask, like, can I use this one? And it is now will use some tool, UniProt underscore entry tool. It is correct. So now that internally calls another tool, some data management tool from UniProt is needed. So which is basically some SQL query. Okay, so again I will allowing that. So that gives, I think, some result, and that's what it gets the response that okay, this is a cellular protein like this, like this, like this. Okay, so that's what the beauty of this MCP server. So basically now you don't have to so now you can go to any MCP server. Okay, any MCP server, you download it locally, and you can follow their instruction and to install and run the server like the way you run it here. Okay, so this will open some URL, HTTP URL, and then what you do, you can now configure your JSON file. I'll just show you what was that. Okay, you can configure your JSON file like this, the npx and MCP remote and MCP. Again, the thing is, like, to connect to this MCP, if you want to use this MCP remote, you will have to use npx. Okay, the alternate approach is also, we will see in the future video, advanced one, where we'll not need to use npx. We can directly convert this entire MCP server in a Docker, and then we can connect to via Docker as well. I think this here, I'm not sure it is they provide Docker as well in this UniProt server. Yeah, it's not there, but ideally, if you can provide that flexibility as well while building your own MCP server in the near future, we'll see in the next video. So you can use it. User don't have to connect like via this npx, then MCP remote, and like that. So you can connect via Docker as well. That we'll see. But in short, any MCP server you download and run locally and expose it in the HTTP protocol, and then you will be able to connect it and your agent will be able to see it. Okay, so in short, what we saw over here, like we saw the Cloud Desktop with this protocol and also this protocol. In the next video, we'll now move from the Cloud Desktop to AI SDK agent. So this is now we will see programmatically. We will using this Open AI SDK agent framework to create our own agent, and then we will see how to connect to an MCP server using STDIO and HTTP. So the advantage of using this kind of framework is, like, it gives full flexibility to create a multi-agent system kind of workflow, and a lot of functionality you can do, which this because this is developed by Cloud Desktop, right? There is no control over here. So whatever the Cloud Desktop will do, you'll have to depend on that, how it will work. But here you can create a multi-agent system by yourself. So this is more open, programmatically you can build an AI agentic system. That's what we will see in the next video. So, like, MCP with an AI SDK agent, STDIO walkthrough. Okay, I hope this video was useful, and I try to give like some example, like how to use your existing Cloud Desktop to any MCP server available in the world. So yeah, so I will see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching.